Okay. So today we're going to start looking at how to multiply fractions by whole numbers. Our essential question for the next probably week or so is going to be what strategies can be used to multiply and divide fractions. Strategies are the ways that you will solve those problems. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to learn how to draw it. We're going to draw a pattern. Our fraction cubes. Okay. And we're going to learn how to take a number, put it into fraction tiles, and say how many of that number something is. So for example, Leela threw 16 pitches in the first inning of a softball game. Of the pitches she threw, 3/4 of them were strikes. How many strikes did she throw in the first inning? So we're going to find 3/4 of 16. Okay. The word of lets you know that you're going to find a number that is part of that. So it's part of the whole. Now if it's part of that number, what do we know that the number has to be? Come on, number sense, guys. I have $8 in my pocket. I'm going to give you part of those $8. What do you know about the amount of money that I'm going to give you? Yes.
Half.
Doesn't have to be half, yes? Up to a certain amount. Not at least up to 8, only up to 8. Because I don't have more than $8. So if I say I have $8 in my pocket, and Lucas over here says, Mr. Bello can I have some money, and I'm like, all right, Mr. Anderson, I got $8 in my pocket, I'll give you some money. Lucas doesn't know how much money I'm going to give him, but he knows that I can't give him more than $8.
That
Right?
makes sense.
Okay. So if we're saying that 3/4 of 16, so we want to have part of 16, so what do we know about our answer right now? No. It can be 16, but it's going to be 16 or less. Because there's no way that you can have a part of something and have more. Unless. What if this was 4/3?
That could work.
Yeah.
In 4/3, the 4 would turn into a 1 and a 2, and the 16 would turn into a 17.
Not exactly. But if we went 4/3, this is more than 1. Right? Because 4/3 is equal to 1 1/3. Okay? Because it's more than 1, this is 1, and then you would have the part on top of it. So it would be more. So anytime that your fraction is less than 1, we know, like in this case, it's 3/4, which is less than 1. Our answers have to be 16 or less. And it actually has to be less because 3/4 is less than 1. Okay? Now, we're going to use bar diagrams today. And it makes it very, very easy. Okay? We're going to look at the fraction. The fraction is going to tell us what kind of bar diagram, or how many squares we need in our bar diagram. Okay, so let's erase all that. So in this case, in every case, one number is going to tell us how many parts our bar diagram needs to be separated into? It's the denominator. In this case, our denominator is what? 4. So how many parts is our bar diagram going to need to be separated into? How many parts is our bar diagram going to have to be separated into? 4. So here, they drew a bar diagram for us already, right here. And it's separated into 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. 4 pieces. Okay? The bar diagram itself represents the total. The total is our whole number. So how many does the bar diagram represent? 16. Now, we have 4 equal sections. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our whole number and divide it by that number. Which is what?
4.
So I know that I have 4 groups of
4.
So each one of our places on our bar diagram represent one of our groups. So how many pitches are in each square? 4. Now, our last number, the numerator, tells us how many of those squares we're looking for. So what's our numerator?
3.
So we come down here. We can see it's 3/4 right there, right? So we're going to count 1, 2, 3. How many pitches are in those 3 squares? Yes, sir? There are 12 pitches. 4, 8, 12. So the denominator is 4, so the bar diagram was divided into 4 equal sections. Each section of the bar diagram represents 4 pitches. So we're going to put these 4 together, which is going to equal 12. How many strikes? Okay. So right here it says use the diagram to determine 3/4. So we have 4 plus 4 plus 4, which is 12. So 3/4 of 16 is 12. So they look through 12 strikes. What?
I still don't understand how you changed the 3 into 4.
I didn't change 3 to 4.
Yep, switch them upside down. Swap them.
It looks like you just times 3 and 4, and then you get 12.
And for the 16, it works, but it doesn't always work.
Oh.
What if the number was 12? So 3/4 of 12 is 9.
Yeah.
So you can't multiply the 4 and 3 together. Okay?
How
So-
do you always switch it?
We'll do another
Another
example.
time?
Can you?
Yeah.
So now we're going to find 1/3 of 15 using the bar diagram. So our bottom number, our denominator is what?
3.
So how many sections do I need to separate our bar diagram into? 3. So here they've drawn one for us already. So 1, 2, 3. There's 3 sections. What number am I separating into those sections? Yes, sir.
5.
No. Not there yet. Yes.
1/3.
What number am I going to break apart?
15.
15. Now I'm breaking it into how many pieces?
3.
3. So we can divide 15 by 3, which is 5.
So 5. So 1. So then you have to put 5 into all of them.
So 5 goes into each square.
5, 10, 15.
Now, the numerator, the top number of the fraction, tells us how many squares we need. In this case, how many squares do we have?
3.
No.
1.
1. So we come down here and we take 1 square. How much is in that 1 square?
1/3.
1/3. 5. 5.
It's 5. So 1/3 of 15 is,
Yeah. 5.
because if I divide 15 into 3, I get 5 in each square. 1/3, 5.
That's
Okay.
pretty easy.
So far, so good?
Yeah. Wait.
So since the denominator is 3, it was divided into 3 equal sections. And each section of the bar represents 5. What?
In every single problem, will you always switch the number around?
You can switch the number around.
Like how you switch 1 and 3? Like in our last number?
I didn't switch it.
Yeah, you never switched it.
Yeah, when you changed the 3 to 4, and you changed it to 4 and 3.
That was showing attention.
Oh.
Attention, please.
Okay. So it looks like you can divide 3 out of 15, and then you just get 1 of, wait. So there's 5, and then, so there's 3 equal sections, right?
Right?
So you just look at 1, and you get 5.
Okay. So if it was not the same.
Oh, 1 equals 2.
So what is it?
10.
It's 10 because it's 2 of these squares.
Oh, so all you change is, so even if you
So the top number just tells you how many pieces you're going to include.
Oh, is that what we're going to do today?
This is what we're doing today.
Oh, that's easy.
So in this case, it says that the bar, use the diagram to determine 1/3 of 15. Well, 1/3 of 15 is the same as 15 divided by 3, which is 5. Okay? Or 1/3 times 15. So 1/3 of 15 is 5. 1/3 times 15? Some of your homework problems are going to look like this. Okay? When you multiply a whole number, you turn it into a fraction over 1. So 15 over 1. It's still 15. Right?
50.
Anything over 1 is itself. So then you go 1 times 15 equals
15.
3 times 1 equals.
3. 15 over 3 is that?
Do you remember the story I told you about the brothers outside playing?
No.
You
All right.
stand for that. Yeah.
So a fraction is a division problem. And this is the easiest way to think about it. This brother, they're playing outside. The number on top is the bully of the 2 brothers. And it tackled the other brother in the front yard. The brother that tackled the other brother then decides, well, I know you're going to go tell mom. So he runs inside and he slams the door to make sure the other brother can't get in. So now I have 15 divided by 3, which is 5. Okay.
So then he died.
He doesn't die.
It's like the brother died.
He didn't die.
I know. It's like
He walked into the back door. Jeez.
Goodness.
Okay.
15 is
He reduced for a math problem.
0 now.
Now, so there it is.
Because I'm making sense.
Stop egging it on. Stop losing it. Alright, so explain to a friend why 1/4 of 16 is the same as 16 divided by 4. Can anybody explain to me why 1/4 of 16 is the same as 16 divided by 4?
Oh, it's easy. Because 4 only goes into 16 once. Wait. Because you're going to divide 4, or, yeah, 16 divided by 4, and then it's the same thing because you get the same answer. 4.
This is the way I like to think of it. Because when you multiply 1/4 times 16, which is 1/4 of 16, that equals 1 times 16, which is 16. Remember, we put this over 1, 4 times 1, which is 4. That fraction is a division problem, which is equal to 16 divided by 4.
I know how I give you.
Because 16/4, which is the answer of 1/4 times 16, is the same thing as 16 divided by 4. That's why they're the same. Yes.
But the denominator stay the same, right?
No, not in multiplication.
So it'd just be 16 over 16.
No,
Well, no, it's 16 over 1.
because
I see what I did.
16 is over 1. So 1 times 16 is 16. 4 times 1 is 4. So in multiplication and division, you don't need a common denominator. The denominators change. Okay. So explain why 3/4 of 16 is the same as 3 times 16 divided by 4. Why don't you guys take a second, figure out, write out the problem of 3/4 of 16 and 3 times 16 divided by 4, and see if you can figure out why they're the same. The word of means 3/4 times 16.
Over 1.
It is the same because 3 times 16 is the first thing we're going to do, which is 48. 16 goes over 1 when we're multiplying, and we multiply the denominators. 4 times 1, which is 4. Okay?
Yep.
48/4 is the same thing as 48 divided by 4,
Oh, that wasn't the 12.
which equals 12. So you can see 3 times 16 divided by 4. It's the same exact problem. That's why they're equal. They look different, but they're not. Just like what is that? It's 1, right? So it looks different, but they're the same.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the multiplication problems that they're giving us are kind of the same way. They look different, but they're the same. So 3/4 of, what is of?
Time. Multiplication.
Multiplication. So if you see of, you're going to replace it with what?
Multiplication.
A multiplication sign. Okay? Very good. All right. I will do number 3 with you. And I will do number 5 with you, and then you guys are going to be let go on your own. So we have 12 times 1/2. So 12 times 1/2 equals. Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a bar graph. Boom. And we're going to divide that bar graph into how many pieces? 2, because that's what the denominator is. Boom. Then we're going to take our whole number and we're going to put it above the bar graph. There's 12.
And then the 2 boxes with the shift.
So then we're going to divide. How many boxes are there? There's 2. The number I want to put in there is 12.
6.
Which gives me 6.
Because you could do it easier instead of dividing, because on the bottom it said 1/2 and half of 12 is 6.
Which is dividing.
Yeah, but you didn't have to write out the problem.
No, I wanted you to write out the problem because I want you to see what you're doing.
Oh.
Now, How many of these boxes are we looking for our answer?
1.
1. Our numerator is 1. It wants to know one box, which in this case is 6. Okay. Number 5. I'm going to draw a bar graph. How many pieces is my bar graph going to be divided into? 3. Very good, Parker. So I'm going to draw my bar graph. Divide it into 3 pieces. Because that's what my denominator is, okay? Now, which number am I dividing into 3 pieces? Which number am I going to divide into these 3 pieces? Yes?
18.
18. So we're going to put 18 up here. How many pieces do I need?
3.
So we take 18
Divided by 3.
divided by 3.
It equals 6.
So each one of these squares is going to be worth how many?
6.
And then how many of the squares do I want?
2.
2. Our numerator tells us how many squares? 2 squares, which, how many 6s is that?
2.
Which equals?
12.
There you go. You have quite some time to finish the rest of your work. You should have plenty of time to finish. Yes, sir.
Can you help me with one more?
Which one would you like me to do?
Let's see then. Well, I needed help on the multiplication one.
What?
And I'll do it.
We did a multiplication one.
Dude, it just doesn't say of.
It's the same thing, just not of.
Yeah.
And multiplication, you got to remember, does it matter which number comes first in the multiplication problem?
No.
What's 3 times 2?
6. And then 2 times 3 is 6.
2 times 3 is 6.
6.
So, if 2/3 of 18 equals 12, 18 of 2/3 equals 12. So 2/3 times 18 is 12. 18 times 2/3 is 12. Okay? Nothing changes.